up, Dean?
Dino,
Better? Am I better now? Am
you
I
are
still
much
doing
better
it?
now.
Okay.
All right. Well, let's get this thing started. All right. Are we
Let's
ready?
get this started. Sure, we're ready. Hit it.
All right, everybody. Welcome to Third and Too Long, another Jets podcast. And this is kind of a sad podcast. I think I'm a little down. I don't know. You know what? This has been an emotional roller coaster of a season. It's not over yet. I've been depressed. I've been happy. I've been excited. I've been confused, and now I think I don't know. I think I'm ready to just tie the rope and throw it over the rafters and string myself up for this season. Um,
How many more
another
of these
another.
podcasts are there? So,
We'll keep the podcast going. Another appallingly bad game this week against the Seahawks. I think Dean. I know you have strong feelings on the Geno Smith of it all.
yes.
A little revenge from Geno Smith, who actually I really like, and I'm sort of happy for him. But I'll ask the question I ask every week. Now what?
The whole Geno Smith thing really just sort of seals my opinion that, there's something desperately wrong in the coaching staff for quarterback development. Now, if Zach Wilson goes on and becomes a successful quarterback, what is it? Why does Geno leave and then become an actually, you know,
You,
football playing quarterback?
yeah.
What, and why are these other ones not, we're not able to develop them. Now, of course, Aaron Rodgers, he's not listening to anybody, right? He's Aaron
Oh
Rodgers. He
well,
just
well,
came out of
we're
his
we're
dark
we're going to
room,
spend some time
you
on
know.
Mr. Rogers.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So,
yeah, for sure.
so
Yeah.
yeah,
Gino,
yeah.
what did you think of this game? By the way, all our predictions were wrong. Dean, you were the closest. The final score was 26-21 Seahawks. Dean, you had 38-10 Seahawks. You were way out there. You thought this was going to be really big. Gene, you had 27-20 Jets. I had 28-14 Jets. Dean, you were probably the closest.
Well, I guess so. I mean, I picked the who would actually lose the game, so I'm not successful in that aspect. But I mean, just going off of where the Jets have been the last few, games and what we've seen, I just didn't have a lot of confidence going in. And the Seahawks aren't a great team, but
No.
they're obviously better than the Jets. But I thought they had something more to prove. So it was a little tighter of a game than I thought it would be.
What do you think, Gino?
My philosophy was, listen, this was a gut check, right? That's where the optimism came from. And when they came out, they looked really good. They started out, things were falling in their way. It was all kinds of mishaps on both sides,
Yeah.
and it was all falling towards the Jets. And I'm like, all right, this is it. This is the gut check game, right? Put it in there, and then that only lasts for so long. you know, let's there's a couple things. Vinny, you said, it's been a heck of a season. You said it's not over yet. Well, I guess it depends on how you want to look at that. If it's not over yet, right? So that's that. And then Dean, you mentioned, like, quarterbacks that are going on, and the quarterback development. Yeah, all that is. If you look back at how many different coaches and GMs all mixed together, like, they could never. It's like it's worse than the curse of the babe. You like, well, what is it? They got talent. They've got coach. Yes, a couple of questionable coaches. But what is it? Where's the development? It's not just these guys. It's how many past administrations we have here, right?
Right.
Past
It's
coaching
like the
staffs.
Italian government. But you know what? This is a team. You just said the thing that keeps sticking to me. This team is not without talent.
Amazing.
it's got a very talented defense. You've got some great receivers. You've got some great runners. This is and not a terrible offensive line, which that's very high bar for Jets.
Hmm.
It's not a team that doesn't have any talent.
They don't. I think. Well, how do you say his name again? I don't even know the coach's name.
Oh,
Ulbrich.
well, I'm not bothering to remember it. He'll be
He
holding
might
a
not.
he'll be holding a Surface tablet in Carolina pretty soon.
His name will be coming across the unemployment line at workforce
I know.
here
I
soon.
feel bad for the guy.
He's already got the U-Haul trucks backing up to his place as we speak. Listen, honey, there's no rush. We could take our time. This will be a move where we could really have everything organized because it's happening. We just don't have to do it tomorrow. So let's start now, and it'll be a perfect move, right?
Wait,
Boxes will be perfectly placed. He's already in the motion. This guy,
I mean,
forget
I
it.
feel bad for the guy because if you're a position coach or in the NFL, you're waiting for that call, right? And the call comes. It's your own team, and you got to look at it and go, well, I got Aaron Rodgers, I've got Devontae, I've got receivers, I got a great defense. It's like we can make something happen here. I really truly feel bad for this guy.
So I feel bad for the guy, but the way I see it too is this. He before Salah got whacked, right? He had an interview with Woody and the GM. He had an interview. Even they know who he is. They brought him in. There was an interview. So
Right.
now
Sure.
let's just say, and he's clearly over his head. So let's just say it's next year, and the Jets had halfway decent season. He's out, right? He'd be going on a head coaching position, an interview. He
Hmm.
might even pass the interview. I mean, he would pay, he would probably get hired. And
I don't
then I
know
think it
about
would
that.
be interesting.
Right now, he's doing two things, right? Isn't he still the defensive coordinator? Isn't
I
he
think so,
still
yeah.
doing that?
Yeah.
And the head coaching job? I mean, both of those take, that's hard to do both those jobs, right? So, I mean, where does your allegiance lie in those? And for him, clearly it is what is going to be my next job. If my next job is
Yeah.
going to be a defensive coordinator somewhere, then I need to make sure that what I'm doing on the defensive side is shining clear and bright. And maybe that's part of the trouble. Maybe I mean, that is too much for one person to bear, and he can't really put his full effort into both of them. So maybe that's why, because
Yeah,
like you guys say, there's so much talent on this team, but it's such individualized, right? The talent has not come together in a
that's it.
successful manner, right? So, they're all there. They're all doing their part. They're all running around, with their arms up in the air, waiting for the, quarterback to throw them the ball. But there's so many other little bits and pieces that just apparently are missing, right? Why should this team be losing?
Yeah,
This
I
is the
agree.
worst roller coaster ride ever.
No, I exactly. I agree with that, and I mean, I think if you bring on an Aaron Rodgers, right? Aaron Rodgers should be more than the box score, right? You expect him to have great passes. He's still got a good arm. You expect him to play well, but it's that X factor. That's why you bring a guy like that in. He's that coach on the field. He's that leadership in the locker room, and I just don't see it. I don't see it.
I, I don't see it. I mean, and up until today, I'm like, give the guy a break here. Like, break,
Yeah,
oh, let's start, take him out, bench him. No, they don't bench him. You got Aaron Rodgers. He plays as long as he's healthy. He plays the rest of the season. You don't take him out, right? Yeah, yeah. I don't see it, but I don't also see what you just said was I'm not seeing the leadership. I mean, today that quick quote came across. I didn't watch it because again, I was kind of preoccupied during the game, and I probably watched three-quarters of it, and then afterwards I couldn't catch the post game. But just a quick feed came across my phone. He said there's 11 players, and sometimes it's me. So I don't even know what that means. What does that mean? Did he did he take the heat on himself? Did he not? That's like hey, I'm really sorry, but you
yeah,
know,
but it wasn't all me.
yeah. So
But
um,
and And is that another part of the problem, right? Is Aaron Rodgers the is he either not taking on that coaching role, or is he taking on the coaching role and it's causing conflict? Right now, that could
Could
be
be.
another, because I'm going to assume he is fairly stubborn. He's a very successful quarterback, although not as successful as people made him out to be. He's only got one Super Bowl, right? I mean, that's more than a lot of other guys, but he's a reasonably good quarterback. And
Do, do we do we think
he should be able to make these plays.
do we
Well,
think Aaron Rodgers got Saleh fired?
Yeah,
yeah.
maybe. I don't know. I'm quite
No,
possibly.
I don't. You know what? I don't think so. I think he Woody or Joe D reluctantly brought him back this year. That's the way I feel.
Interesting.
And now they open the checkbook, like you said, they've done everything, and then the first 5 games there was no emotion. There was no team unity. The defense sucked. The offense couldn't get their act together. You know what? I don't think I personally don't think he got him fired, but there was no love there. You saw that on
Right.
yeah, that whole push away thing. That was pretty telling, by the way.
Well, and it
That was
was
pretty
when
telling.
Aaron Rodgers came to the Jets, it was just like a continuation of the Green Bay frat party. He brought all of his buddies over, gave everybody a job, and it didn't seem to work out, right? Of course, he
Right.
was injured, and then we tried to insert another quarterback into a play scheme that was really built all around Aaron Rodgers, right? But and now everything is just completely haywire with Hackett not in there, and it's just a mess. That's really all you say is a mess.
Yeah.
It's a mess.
It's a mess
Yeah.
that's not together. So all right. So let's look to next year. As always, as Jets fans, I'm always ready to be the next year guy. Um, Aaron Rodgers still with us next year? Does he take a snap? Does he go somewhere else?
You know,
It depends.
it he's got such a big ego. He doesn't want to go out like this,
Right.
you know. But he also he's lost a step,
Yeah.
you know, which is yeah, 41, right? 41 tomorrow, I think it is, right? Something like that.
Right.
Something like yeah. So he's definitely lost a step, but I don't know. That's it's
You know
I
what?
think so.
I want to push back on the lost a step thing because you know what? There was a Peyton Manning that lost a step, wins in Denver. Tom Brady, I mean, look, the guy's in phenomenal shape. He had clearly lost a step in Tampa Bay. He goes down there and wins. I think it's physically still possible. I mean, look, Aaron Rodgers still got a great arm. He was never a super mobile quarterback. He can still move as much as he needs to. Um, I think it's in the head. I
Yeah.
don't think it's in the
You,
arm.
Dean, you were saying, I want to kind of rebuttal what you said about Aaron. He about Rodgers. He's a first time Hall of Famer. He's a first ballot Hall of Famer.
No question.
Yeah. So yeah, he only had the one Super Bowl, but no, he's got he's got the goods. He had the goods, and you're right. He still has the goods. Yeah, he's lost a step. They all do. I mean, today he made a couple of bad throws, and one or two of those throws, it's a different game.
Yeah. But they had how many times on this podcast have we said, geez, if the Jets could have gotten just one or two lucky breaks, right? And today they were getting them.
They got a bunch of lucky breaks today, but
And they
they
still
also
didn't win.
gave yeah, and they still didn't win, and they gave away a lot of lucky breaks to the other team.
True. It was not a
Come on.
it was was an Amazon quality game. They seem to get really terrible games over there at Amazon, but it was an Amazon Prime quality game.
Oh, too funny. They don't, they were up, they had a lead. They don't know how to they didn't have to keep the game. The Saul thing, all gas, no brakes, right?
Yeah,
Well, they never knew how, and that they don't know how.
yeah,
They don't know how to win a game. They don't know how to win a game.
right. How do we finish it? How do we finish a game? And it's the
Yeah,
Seahawks. They're not great. They're not
no,
great. It was a
They don't
very
have a
go
yeah,
ahead.
they don't have a coach that knows what winning is like. So they can't really instill in them, hey, this is what we need to keep doing, guys. This is where we need to
yeah.
keep being.
Yeah, yeah.
I think a lot of whether
Some of
Aaron
the
Rodgers plays next year depends on who they have and how they develop over the offseason. I think it's going to be another one of those things. It's going to be a decision made in training camp, right? Somebody's going to either show some spark or not. And if there is no spark and there's money and Aaron Rodgers is willing to put the uniform back on, then I think he's the guy. But if there's somebody that's clearly beating him out, then in Jets fashion, they'll run him out on the field and see how long he lasts.
I know that, and you know what? That gives me such heartburn because I mean, how many times have we been through this? And this is why, I kind of wish if I was Jets general manager of the day, I would be the world's most boring general manager because I would recruit and draft every offensive lineman available. I would have 8 million offensive linemen because I always feel like if you've got a good offensive line, your quarterback can look like a genius. I'm not saying it
Mhm.
would be, you'd go win the Super Bowl, but if you've got a really good offensive line, you got time. And I feel like almost any quarterback, Geno Smith, Sam Darnold, those guys can make passes if you give them time. And then if you've got a great offensive line, you can run the football. So, I mean, I kind of feel like that's where Joe Douglas's head was. Once they hired Aaron Rodgers, it's like, all right, I'm just going to go build O line. And I'm hoping their head is still there. So, we'll see. You have somebody back there if it's not Aaron Rodgers, I guess.
Listen, we've been saying offensive line since I can remember. They've never had an offensive line. That's
Right,
always the story. And that is one of the toughest things. Yes, you're right. You'd be a boring GM. Yeah. Just give me the accountants.
right, right. I'm gonna draft offensive linemen by weight.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
350,
You
you're
know,
in.
yeah. Yeah, that really has to be their focus. And we say it every year,
Yeah.
every year. Got to be the focus. But what do you have for quarterbacks? What's out there right now? What do you do?
I don't know.
I keep
Are
hearing
we?
about this
Are,
draft.
we're going to be in another position where no disrespect to Zach Wilson, but he was not the guy. He was the second choice. He was not Trevor Lawrence, and and I don't think we're going to be in the number one slot again. To get that first pick, who I have not even looked to see who's, which quarterbacks' lives we could ruin next year. So I haven't mentally gotten to that point, but I don't really know. I don't think we've got anybody in the system that we want to move up. And you know what? Do we keep Aaron Rodgers another year? Hey, you could do worse. I think we've got to. I think it's a coaching problem. I really honestly do. And we thought Aaron Rodgers was going to be part of that solution, and he's just not.
Mm, no, no, he's not. He's. I think he's just he's got to be out there to salvage his legacy. That's what I think.
Well, what is he going
He's
to do? Is he going to do the get elected to the Hall of Fame and sign the 1 day contract with the Packers to go in as a Packer? I think he would love to do what Brett Favre couldn't do and go down that Peyton Manning, Tom Brady path and win. I think the guy wants to win. Um,
Of course he does.
Yeah. He he
Yes,
definitely
he's
wants
an
to
odd
win. Yeah, he definitely wants to win. I mean, there's no doubt about it. He wouldn't be here if he didn't still think he had it, right? He's something to prove. He's got these other quarterbacks, right? Peyton Manning, Tom Brady that have done. terrific things, came back and won games. He's not ready to be an analyst. Maybe he won't even be an analyst, right? Maybe he just wants to ride off in the sunset with all of his, with his, you know,
I
Hall of
can't
Fame
imagine him as an
trophy
analyst. He's the most
pocket,
confusing, obtuse guy. He's just like he says something and I'm sure the other play-by-play guy would be like, "What?"
Yeah.
You'd be like, when I came out of the darkness, this is what I saw. This is
Yeah.
what they need to do. They need to see the darkness. I think
We are the
here's the other
darkness.
question too with the Jets, and what does what does their backups look like? Like what does their depth look like for their offensive line? Right? They lose one or
Not
two
enough.
guys, right?
Not enough.
Do they really have a good
No.
amount of depth to fill that slot in?
No.
Because that's another critical piece. If you're going to have Aaron in and you're going to have these giant, 300-pound lineman guys, they're going to go down. You got to be able to have somebody's got to slot right in over like nothing, just the number is different. That's it. Everything
Right.
else has got to be the same.
And you know what? And really, it's funny. It's all a matter of perspective, right? I'm like, hey, this offensive line doesn't look too bad. And compared to normal Jets offensive lines, they're much better. But they were still like in the bottom of the list of the amount of time they would give the quarterback to throw. So, I
Yeah.
mean, there's plenty of work that needs to be done on this offensive line. I still love the 1990s Cowboys offensive line where they were so deep and everybody was good and they just rotate guys out every play. And it was just like, here's five great guys. Oh, here's five more great guys to give those
Well,
guys a rest. I would love to be in that position. I don't know if that's even possible anymore.
Well, last year, the Jets' defensive line was that.
True,
They
true.
rotated them like, yeah, that's why they were. That's why it was such a good line. I mean, it was ferocious. It was like hockey.
Yeah,
You know,
they were
just
maniacs.
keep rotating them in and out. Yeah,
And
that
and
fell
and
apart.
and that was a defense that was on the field way too much.
Yeah,
And
right.
let's be honest. Zach Wilson had a better season than Aaron Rodgers is this year, with a much worse offensive line and half
Yeah,
the tools.
yeah.
he's more
Well, listen,
mobile.
Yeah,
he's talented. The kid's talented. He's mobile. He's got a rocket for an arm. He's just missing one little piece. He's missing
coaching,
a chip.
coaching in the
So
NFL. That's what he's missing.
yeah,
He
I think
had
it's
he
right.
had more yardage running around behind the line of scrimmage than anybody else
Right,
the Jets during the season.
right. Because like he would get the ball and there would immediately be a large man from the other team right in front of him, and he would run for his life. I mean, that was and that was what we subjected him to. That was really not part of the game. You, let,
Yeah,
let
one Mississippi.
you're gone. That was it. Okay, so who head coaches next year? I think I was thinking about this. When we hired Sala, it was kind of like at that point, it was like if you can fog a mirror, you could be the Jets head coach because there was nothing here. It was like, really, does anybody want this job? Nobody wanted the job, and that was
Yeah,
how we wound up with Sala. I think we're in a different place now. I think we're at least whether Aaron Rodgers stays or Aaron Rodgers goes, there is at least some talent. It is not that whole junkyard that we had a few years ago. So we've heard every name. We've heard every name in the book to become the Jets coach. So let's talk about who. I mean, it could be almost anybody, and I think now it's a decent job that you might actually want because they're so rock bottom. I mean, there's nowhere up. There's nowhere to go but up.
well, you got self-promoting Rex.
Oh my God.
you
Oh
know,
my God. He'll do it for $1 a year, that guy.
he's the pitch man. Rex is the pitch man.
I can fix this in a week.
That's it.
Nuts.
Then you got Gruden.
You got Gruden, who's
You
having a
know,
lot of fun at Barstool right now.
yeah,
But you forget. I don't know. I don't know if he still got it, but I like him.
uh-huh.
You got Belichick. Although I think Woody's got a bad taste in his mouth from Belichick.
Check is not coming to the Jets. He hates the Jets.
He was a Jets coach for 48
What?
hours.
An hour, like an hour and 12 seconds.
They didn't even give him the key card. He didn't even get that done. They were painting his name
Oh,
on the
oh,
on the parking space, and they got to BIL. He was gone.
yeah. Like, yes, Bill Belichick, head coach. The phone rang. He went like this. Hey, Bob, I'm on my way. Click.
I'm on the next flight.
What scares me about all of this is all of these guys, they were good once,
Yes,
right? They were good once. Do they still have what it takes to align with today's players? I think that's the thing, that connection, right? These, you look at the younger coaches that are having a huge amount of success, right? And they seem to align with the players. And that seemed like what Salah was doing, right? He had that connection with the players, right? Something went wrong there with that, but do the Jets go back and find somebody that was once good and try that, or do they look at the college ranks, right? Who's ready to come up from the college ranks? Who's ready to take that step? Fresh
You
new blood.
there's a bunch of things there, right? One, how successful, if you look in the past, I couldn't tell you. Coaches that were coaching, they were decent or they were good. Then they went to broadcasting
yep,
and then come back out.
yep,
What does that look like, right? How many guys have done it and been successful at it? Then the other point you made was the newfangled player, right? To relate to the new this younger team. And then what college coaches are out there ready to step up, then do we want for next year? Do we want a brand new head coach, first time head coach guy? Do we want to go there? We got a team that's ready to be just a couple tweaks put together, make some unity, get a little bit of excitement, and they could be decent. They're right on the edge of being terrible, which we've rung, we've checked that box.
right,
But a couple of adjustments, I think they're right there. So you start with a brand new coach, first timer, and we've been down that road before, you
right,
know. So I
right.
don't know. Those are three completely different directions, and where do you pull from?
Well, it's like if you hire a Rex Ryan or somebody like that, you're looking for the next Andy Reid, right? Or if you hire somebody young, you're looking for the next Sean McVay, which
Mhm.
I think those are both lightning in a bottle, to be honest with you. So I don't really know. The only thing that gives me any comfort at all is I think people will be interested in the job. I think quality people will be interested in the job.
Do you think there's going to
I
be
think
more interest now than there was when they hired Salah?
I do. I think there are some better fundamentals. I think Woody is clearly wants to open the look. He's 77 years old. He wants to win before they put him in the ground.
Yeah, yeah.
So I, I,
and
I
his players, like, they're all 24 years old and younger, right? There's a couple older guys on the team, but this is a very, very young team.
yeah,
So, a coach would be interested in that, right? These guys have some staying power. They can really develop these guys over a period of time. So, yeah, I think it's a super attractive job. But what are the buzzwords that Woody's looking for to hire somebody, and,
and I
and of
don't know
course
where
we
his
don't know. We don't know what all goes into it, what he's
Well,
after or what he's looking for, so.
what he needs to do, he needs a GM. That's the first move, and then it's
yeah,
up to the GM. So as long as the philosophy aligns, right? So he's got to get that GM, and then a GM that's strong enough to say, "Hey, listen, sit at home with the remote, right? Go play with your baby powder and whatever you got to manage there, and stop in and stop in every once in a while with the helicopter to make a hello and then pull back out, right? If we can get a GM that can actually stand up to him, right? And bring in. So it's a matter of the philosophy of the GM, I think, and that's going to be the tough. I think that's tough. You know,
Yeah.
um,
And that might be, that might be an old horse that you put in there. Maybe I don't know, is Bruce Allen still around? A guy like that, from somebody like that. But I still disagree with firing Joe Douglas. I mean, I think look, he put his job is to put horses in the barn. He put horses in the barn.
well, you know what? When you say that, I'm wondering if Woody wanted Salah to go before the season, and Joe Douglas said it's
Oh,
going to work, and he vouched for him, right? And it
oh,
fell
right.
apart by game five, and said, you know what? You're out.
Both of you, get your stuff. Go.
Yeah, get your stuff. Yeah.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah. And
so how
then
about this stuff? Good.
no, I was also going to say how much influence does Woody have in player selection, right?
Who knows?
You go back and you look at Parcells, right? When he was coaching the Cowboys. Was it the Cow? Am I getting
He
Parcells
was the
right? Is
coach.
this
Wasn't he the general manager also?
Yeah, wasn't
maybe,
he? He
but
was both.
I think he
but
was. I think that was pre Jerry assigning himself. But I hear what you're saying. I hear
right,
what
but he made a comment. He was like, if he wants me to cook the meal, he's got to let me buy the ingredients, right? And again, that was a big frustration, right? He didn't have enough say in who the players were that he was bringing and putting on the field, right? And I don't know how much Woody doesn't seem like he has that level of commitment to the team. He's writing the checks, he's bringing in some people, but I don't
you.
know, but
The word is he's very influenced by social media.
Huh? Huh?
He's a social media hawk, and he makes a lot of decisions, and he leans on people because of whatever's going around on social media. That's
Not a good
that's
way to do it. My
no,
personal.
but that's the buzz that's going on up in New
Yeah,
York, right?
he
And
should
then
listen to this podcast.
that's right. And make me
yeah.
the general manager. We're only getting offensive linemen. That's it. That's it.
Well,
If you
how
if
about
you're less
Tannenbaum?
than 300 pounds, don't even call. I don't want to talk to you.
You got to have good knees, and you got to be over 300 pounds.
And that's it.
I'm
I don't care if you've
taking
got a
all my
Polish last
scouts.
name or a Hawaiian last
Yeah,
name. You're top of the list.
that's right. All my scouts are going to the SEC and Hawaii. That's it.
That's
But
it.
you
That's
can
it.
look at any other school.
That's all I want to know. If you're a giant Samoan, call
Yeah.
me.
Woody hired Tannenbaum's firm.
Ah,
What's
okay.
what's the name of it? Um, it's I'm losing it, but it's Tannenbaum. It's his firm that he just retained. Now, is that to look for a GM? Is it look to yeah, it's to do something.
Right.
It's to do
Right.
something.
Has Woody had enough?
Right.
Right. Because honestly, he could sell the Jets and walk away with 2 billion in his pocket.
Does he need it?
No. How
Like
many yachts can you can you water
right,
ski behind, right?
right.
I think he'd like to win though. I do think he really wants to win and he's ready to spend the money to do it. All
He
right,
is
guys.
spending the money. Yeah.
Yeah. All right, let's talk about next week's game. Let's get our predictions in and then let's wrap this up. Next week, another bad team we're going to play. The Miami Dolphins. Who actually show moments of, I can kind of see where that's going. There's like some sparks, and I really like that coach, and I see some little moments in there. Gee, do we think can we beat the Miami Dolphins?
No,
What do you think?
absolutely not. No, I don't think so. I'm not going to be quite as a naysayer as it was last time, but I'm going to keep the Jets below 3 scores. So I'm going to say 17 for the Jets, and I'm going to go 28 for Miami.
28-17 Fins. And that's in Miami.
Yeah, it's going to be sunny. It's going to be nice. Miami's got a good record when they're at home in the sunshine. So,
But
Aaron Rodgers,
he'll, the weather, he'll feel good.
he will know what to do with himself. The rest of the guys are fine, right? Aaron Rodgers, he won't know what to do with himself.
All right, Geno, what do you think?
Well, I played my gut check card for this week, and we see how that turned out. So, um, yeah, I'm gonna have to lean on the Dolphins. It's gonna be 2028 Dolphins.
Yeah, all right. All right. This is a meaningless game, and I always feel like the Jets step up for meaningless games. So I'm going to go 24-13 Jets.
Ooh. Ding ding ding.
You know, let's talk about how many times I've been right this season. I think one. I think I'm one for whatever.
Oh.
So
Well, just
was
I
Jets
have to
fan.
mention before you close out. How about the Jets killer today? How about Leonard Williams? Did you watch any? Did you see him? Like he beat the Jets almost single-handedly.
Yes, and the Jets
I don't
defense. I think
remember
they're just.
why we got rid of him. We traded him. I don't remember why. Was it money? Was it cap? Was it players? I don't remember.
I
But
don't remember. Yeah.
yeah, I need to go ask Jamie why. But yeah,
All
but
right.
he tore it up today. He
Yeah, and
tore it
that's
up.
it. And it's just so funny. I think we've gotten. We sort of took the really good defense for granted over the last few seasons. Oh, they're always going to be there, and maybe we haven't done enough to shore that up. Because
There you go.
there's some holes in that defense. It's
Yeah,
been not
yeah.
good for the last 3 weeks. And maybe they're just depressed. So a little
Listen,
Xanax for the Jets defense. All right. That is it. Any parting
all
words,
right.
Dean?
Oh, yes.
Go Jets.
That's all I
All right, Geno. This has been the Third and Too Long, another Jets podcast. Gene has been with us. Vinny, Dean, Gene, take us out. Best chant in football.
Best chant in football, baby. Jets.
Jets,
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 Jets.
Jets.
All right. See you next week, guys.
All
See you
right.
guys.
See you.